said it's the life. Yeah. Hey, yo, I see y'all out there living y'all life, man. Live it up. I went from sleeping on the bunk inside a cage to home ownership. While people was afraid of that life, I was condoning it. It helped that I was raised for the mice, known to roam. If you got it out the mud, I slept there. I was homeless, living was only torture, and I could have done without it. But God rerouted it, and now
What's up, good people? It's your boy, Bro Troy. We're back on another episode of the Bro Code Show. This one's a little different, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
Indeed, man. How you guys feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Feeling good?
Oh, man, I'm excited.
How about yourself, Kurt? You feeling
we're-
pretty good?
We're in Durham.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Look, we have the man, the myth, the legend. You know, they call him Ninth Wonder, man, but we want to find out a little bit more. You know, I could run his resume, but we always say, my grandmother says a poor frog can't praise his own pond. So, first and foremost, man, good evening, sir. How you doing today?
How you doing, man?
I'm
What's
doing
happening?
well,
What's
man. I
going
can't
on?
complain at all, brother. But for those that are listening, watching, that may not already know, have not already done their research, listen to a plethora of music that you have already blessed the world with, you have 90 seconds or less, man. Run your resume. Put some respect on your name.
Oh my God. Producer, professor, Jay-Z, Destiny's Child, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, Ludacris, Anderson .Paak, DJ Khaled, 2 Chainz, Rhapsody, Lil Wayne, Drake, J. Cole, David Banner, Buckshot, Merge, Jean Grey. Man, what am I leaving out? I'm not leaving Kendrick Lamar. You get him. Professor at Duke, the Rock Nation School at LIU, Brooklyn, Elizabeth City State, Wake Forest, formerly North Carolina Central University professor, formerly Harvard professor. I mean, hey, basketball enthusiast. Sneakerhead, sneaker creator.
Get it right.
Committee member at the Smithsonian, committee member at the Kennedy Center of Performing Arts, and a partridge in the pear tree, man, I guess.
That partridge in a pear tree, I love it. With a cherry on top.
Right.
Do you still go by your government? Like, does that even exist anymore?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, man.
You do? So that's when you get to the crib, like when you get back home?
I mean, when I'm around family and close friends,
Yeah.
I find myself these days being more around friends and family than I am musicians. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and it's always P or Patrick or son or, you know what I mean, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I love being around my family, especially my relatives.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, and close friends, my day ones, y'all have been talking to Tia this whole time. Mm-hmm. I've known Tia since 1989.
That was going to be one of my questions. All right, we're going to dig into that one too, because I was wondering, man, how did she become the right,
the right
you know what I mean?
hand.
The right
Yeah,
hand,
right, exactly.
You know, so we want to ease into the convo.
Okay,
We
cool.
got many of questions, man. We just getting started,
Cool.
but it's my job just to kind of tiptoe in. We have this thing called rapid fire questions. Mm-hmm. First thing comes to mind. You ready?
Yeah.
Awesome. What has been your favorite age so far?
Age? Man, 17.
We're going to ask about that one, right? 'Cause that's young Patrick right there, right? Yeah, absolutely.
17, bro.
What is your go-to lazy dinner?
Spaghetti?
What is your favorite thing to do in the summertime?
Watch basketball.
What is one of your nicknames?
Pooh.
We're going to talk about that. How did you get that one, right? Everybody got a nickname.
Okay.
What was your major in college?
History.
What is the stupidest dare you ever agreed to do?
God almighty. Take a shower without my clothes on. In college.
What item is, yeah. Just to let you know, I was in college, right? That was a long time ago.
Let's be clear.
Right, let's be clear, right?
Yeah.
What item is worth spending more money on?
Sneakers.
Well, this is a silly question. I'm going to say what it says. It says, have you ever written a song for someone? Well, that's pretty clear.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Some parts, yeah.
A few, maybe a few. Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
a few, yeah.
Maybe a few. What is one thing you regret spending money on?
Regret spending money on? Nothing.
What movie do you enjoy quoting the most?
House Party.
Wow, you took way back on that one. Okay. Robin Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First House Party.
Yeah.
The only one that matters.
The only one that matters. That's right. If you could be transformed into one animal, which one would you choose?
Lion.
Well, you may have answered this one, but what dish do you cook the best?
Garlic and chicken spinach pasta.
Okay.
Okay.
You leveled up on that one.
Yeah, man, you watch some cooking shows. All right, man. What is your favorite board game?
Monopoly.
What is your favorite rainy day activity?
Sleeping.
And last but not least, who is your favorite Disney character?
God. Favorite Disney character?
Yeah. You got 3 kids, man. You gotta have a favorite,
Man,
favorite
it's
Disney
a lot,
character,
it's a lot
bro.
Of them,
Like,
man. It's a lot of them. I guess I can say Tramp from Lady and the Tramp. That's my dude, man.
Okay, I love it. Well, rapid fire questions. Oh, you had one? Oh, you were thinking.
I wouldn't have never gone to Lady
I never would have thought that one either.
I'm old.
You took me there on that one. Okay, rapid fire
man,
questions with my man Knife. I'm curious, man. Let's ease into this, man. I saw a picture on Instagram, and yeah, you got a man in him. It's okay. But when I saw this picture, and I can't find it right now, so we're not gonna worry about it. So you got lucky on that one. But I want to hear about young Patrick. Like, tell us the dynamic of the household you grew up in. Like, who were some of the individuals that you looked up to at that time and influenced you early on in life?
So when I was born, my mom was 33 and my dad's 34. So you do the math, my mom is now 80 and my dad is 81. I grew up around, my mom was the youngest of her siblings. My dad was the second oldest of his. Ironically, my mom had 3 sisters and 1 brother. My dad had 1 sister and 3 brothers. So I was raised around older people.
Yeah.
And my mom was a teacher, so I was also raised by her coworkers. And so, looking back on it, my village it became my village of accountability too. Like, you know what I mean? I'm being watched by my aunts, my uncles, my mom's coworkers, my dad's coworkers. He worked at RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company. No matter in the city where I went, I was always watched.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was raised by an older village, you know, and I think that's the thing that kind of affected me the most. Because no matter what I do, I don't care what I'm doing. If I know I'm doing something wrong, whatever it is, I can always hear, like, not only my mom and dad's voice, I can hear all of my uncles and aunts' voices. I never wanted to be a disappointment. You know what I mean? In the South, most older people say, when you get in trouble, they're like, you know, I'm disappointed. I'm surprised. I would have expected anything out of anybody but you. They used to tear me apart. Oh my God. And I never wanted to hear that. So I was, in a large part, when it came to a lot of my, you know, all of my cousins and the offspring of my aunts and uncles, because of my grades, because of whatever, I was quote unquote the chosen one. Like, I was the one that was in all honors classes, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I was the late child. I came along much later. My brother was 12 years older than me. My sister was 11 years older than me. So here I come popping up. I know in 1975, I was just, that was my house. My dad, like I said, worked at RJR. My mom's an educator. They listened to gospel music. My brother listened to Parliament Funkadelic and Cameo. So they go to music part of my house. You know what I mean? My dad's younger brother listened to Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye. So I'm getting it all from different angles. But my dad's younger brother, it's crazy. In the 80s, he sold heroin. My dad's younger brother. And so his, my cousins was around close to my age. They were listening to, like, Planet Rock. And that's what Planet Rock, Jam On It by Nucleus, Egyptian Lover, Pac Jam, Girls by the way he spin, like the way he spins, Larry, so many of the early '80s, Looking for a Perfect Beat, Planet Patrol, Play at Your Own Risk. Like they were listening to all of that, and it didn't sound like gospel, and it didn't sound like funkadelic. It sounded like something that was totally different. And then it was a dance that came along with it, which is breakdancing and pop locking and all that. So between that and listening to Double Dutch Bus and Musical Youth, Pass the Dutch on the left hand side, all of that, like that was playing in the hood at that time. That's what kind of like got me hooked on whatever this culture was. Because it definitely wasn't in my house, but that's what got me hooked. So that kind of started my musical journey, even before I even knew I had a musical journey.
Is it safe to say Winston-Salem, you went to Winston-Salem State, is that correct?
No, I went to
Central, excuse me. Now, R.J. Reynolds is in Winston-Salem.
I'm from Winston-Salem.
So you're from Winston-Salem?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were right there with State. Why?
Because, most kids didn't go to school right up the street. You know what I mean? And at the time, it's funny because State was a college. I didn't look at it as a black college or whatever. It was just a college that was in the city. Very big part of our culture in the city. The band was incredible. The football teams were incredible. They had a certain culture over there as well. But I always wanted to leave home. You know what I mean? Sense. So I was in love and infatuated with the show A Different World. And they all left home to go to Hillman. So I wanted to leave home. And came down here and visited North Carolina Central as a senior in high school and fell in love with it. So
I love it. Now, I saw somewhere that you consider yourself a band geek.
I am.
What instruments kind of led to that nomenclature? Like, why would you consider yourself a band geek?
I started playing clarinet in 6th grade, and by the time I got to the 8th grade, I was playing like 8 different instruments, 7 different instruments. If we were missing somebody that day, all right, Patrick, go fill in for the trombone today. Wow. I was that. But what was crazy is I probably can only read some of the bass clef, but mostly treble clef. But I would listen to the music and then learn it by ear and play it that way. So I'm playing it by ear. I'm learning to play by ear, but at the same time, I'm going home listening to like Brand Nubian. You know what I mean? And Public Enemy and Early Tribe and Early Daylight. Not knowing that, the stuff I'm trying to play on my clarinet was samples. I'm just playing music. It's, the samples are music. So it's like I'm playing that, not knowing it coming from 70s records. I'm just playing it. So I'm learning music theory on this side in school, but then I'm coming home and learning these classic hip hop albums on this side. And it's kind of entering my ears in this kind of mix. That I didn't even know there was a mix. I was just consuming so much at the time. Being in the 8th grade, like 1988, 1987, was the best time to be in middle school. Listening to albums like Take the Nation to Millions and Queen Latifah's All Hail the Queen and EPMD Strictly Business and Straight Outta Compton and Great Adventures of Slick Rick and Long Live the Cane. I mean, that's 1988.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm listening to all that, and Keith Sweat is out, and I'll Be Sure is out, and New Editions, Heartbreak was out. Guy's first album comes out. Like, this is all I'm eating all this at age 13, 14, man. So, and still listening to like classics. Like, we're still listening to stuff that may have been a little older for me at the time. Regina Bell, Shirley Murdoch, the SOS Band, Midnight Star, Atlantic Star, all of that, and my favorite album of all time, Anita Baker's Rapture. This is came out in 1986. I'm 6th grade, so that was the best time to be growing. That's the best time to grow because you had all this great R&B, but you had these very classic, very intricately constructed rap albums at the time. And we had the wherewithal to listen to both. We listened to Piece of My Love by Guy, but then listen to Hey Young World by Slick Rick and didn't lose a beat. And so that's the balance that we had, and still listening to Luther Vandross, like, so it was crazy at that time.
We got to pay some bills, man.
Okay, all right.
We have hip hop legend in the building, royalties in the building on the Bro Code Show. We'll be right back.
Oh, you made it. Hi. Come on in. Well, welcome to Petals and Stem Spa. I'm Cynthia Bailey. So Petals and Stem Spa is a place where everyone can come and release things. I often say, come in here, release all your demons, and I'll phase them out when you leave. I want you to come in here and feel lighter when you leave. A few services that we offer are, of course, the Yoni Steam, which is great for anyone that has a vagina. We offer the Lingam Steam, which is great for anyone that has a prostate. We also offer crystal detox services, foot detox services, reflexology, and music and vibration therapy.
And we're back on the Bro Code Show with the illustrious Ninth Wonder, Patrick Douthit. Earlier, you mentioned how gospel was a part of your household. Mm-hmm. I'm curious how that element and that side of music has extended into everything that you do now, or just your upbringing growing up.
That's a simple answer. Soul. Mm-hmm. I mean, the musicians that the Mighty Clouds of Joy had, Andre Crouch, James Cleveland, those were also R&B musicians. It was the same deal. Mm-hmm. And one thing that the church taught us the most is chord changing. Mm-hmm. Like it shows how to chord change. A lot of those nuances were put in R&B music at the time. That's why it was easy for Al Green to make the transition from one thing to another. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you listen to How Can You Mend a Broken Heart, Al Green's version, if you listen to Love and Happiness, those are church vibes. Yeah, lift his lyrics off, or even change his lyrics, the subject matter, that's a church song.
It is.
Yeah,
right? Whatever them rolls, like all that is shouts to the late great Willie Mitchell and his son. That was a sound source for Al Green. But just all of those chords, that's church stuff. So now I'm listening to, I don't care what jazz artists we're talking about at the time. It's kind of jazz artists at the time, or R&B artists, and the church was like watching each other. The musicians were, because they were all just interchangeable.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, like I don't, if I'm sampling Billy Paul was crooning the same way Andre Crouch was. So it's not too that far apart at all. It's now everything is so separated. If you listen to a traditional church song, sounds way different from NBA Youngboy. It's not even the same.
That's good.
It's not even the same as, it's not even the same a traditional church song. Just the background of it's not even the same as some of the R&B music acts, because now some of these R&B acts are not even using the church musicians anymore like they used to. So for me, it's all the same to me, dog. Like it just, what changes is the message. That's what changes.
Yeah, and so how do you think your children have been impacted by your musical influences, and tell us more about them, period.
My kids, my kids came along at the right time where the AirPods was not as important, or you know what I mean? Yeah. To grow up in the 80s to have a Walkman, that was a luxury, right? To have a Walkman or Sony Discman, that was a luxury.
Especially if it didn't skip, had the skip proof. Oh, yeah.
But just to have headphones in the car with your mama was a luxury. Most of us listen to whatever our parents listen to in the car. You're not getting in a mother's car in the 80s and putting on Slick Rick, bro. This is not gonna happen. You are forced to listen to whatever she's listening to. And I just carry that on to my kids. You're gonna listen to whatever I'm listening to in the car. And that shape their mind to understand what soul is. So now, my daughter, my youngest, she played on. I started a AAU basketball team, a Nike team called the Carolina Dream, and so when she used to ride with the coaches, she was ride with the coaches and her team. All the teammates playing all the young trap, whatever, right? Driving her insane. She can't stand it. So she puts on her playlist, and it's Earth, Wind and Fire, Midnight Star, Atlantic Star. It's on her own, and that comes from all the music I was playing in the car. I'm watching Unsung off of, TV1, watching all the Unsungs, and she's absorbing that. She is my now 22-year-old is, and even my 27-year-old. They're absorbing all of. So if you go to my child and say Durant, they're gonna name you 6 songs that.
Okay.
If you say the Spinners, they're gonna name you songs. If you say Jay Dilla, they're gonna name you songs. So I spend a lot of time just in the car riding with me, playing everything from all the 80s music I heard on MTV to all the soul music to as much hip hop as I could stand, that they could stand, which they ended up like, I think for a lot of years, my daughter, when she used to train, to go to a trainer, they asked her what she want to listen to, she said Illmatic, you know what I mean? And so I always believe that music is a diet, that if you eat too much of one thing, you're gonna become it. And people don't treat their ear like, they don't treat their ears like the sense that they need to do. What I mean is you got 5 senses, and people don't take care of their ears the way they need to. And so I treat it like a diet. I had to give them and let them understand what the good stuff sounded like first, and then let them make their own decision. And they don't stray too far away from the soul, bro. They don't stray too far away from it at all.
What percentage of your music is being played in the car?
Not a lot. I mean, not a lot. I didn't like, and it's crazy because I didn't play it in the car, but I was making beats in the house.
Right, yeah.
The first 1, 2, 3 Merce albums was recorded around my children. So they seen a Merce, and they seen Jean Grey come in and record, and they seen Buckshot and whoever I recorded at the time. They witnessed all of that. So I don't have to turn around and play it again in the car, unless we're in the car and they're listening to the radio, which I hardly ever listen to the radio. But they're listening to the radio early on, and Destiny's Child Girl comes on. Like they'll be somewhere without me, and they'll hear a song on the intercom, or they'll see a song on a commercial or whatever it is. They'll do that, and it doesn't phase them in a way, I guess. But I don't play a lot of my music in the car unless they're truly a fan of the person that I work with. Anderson .Paak is one. Kendrick is another one. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
9th grade.
Yep.
Glenn High School.
Glenn High School. Robert B. Glenn High School.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You're walking the hall.
Kernersville, North Carolina.
I went to East.
That's a shame.
He said next.
Okay, my fault. Sorry.
What did Patrick? What did he want to be? Did he want to be a producer at that point?
No. History teacher, man. I was. We come from the generation of get a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, I'm in the 9th grade. This is the 2nd season of A Different World. We are all Black and I'm Proud, HBCU bound. Some of us are thinking about that. Took us, a few of us time to get there, but HBCU bound. It was go to school and then go to college. I'm going to college. All the music at that time perpetuated, don't be stupid, be smart. So, we had Dwayne Wayne as a figure to look at.
Was he your favorite character?
He was, and it's funny because now he's one of my closest friends.
You know him.
That's my man.
Yeah.
And just, just that whole character, and But he gave us another, and that was kind of a dynamic because, you know this, like 1987, 1988, 89, it was the era of the light-skinned brothers, right?
It was a short-lived era, though.
Yeah, it was. I mean, but it was an era though. Like it
They
was.
had it on
if
lock
you-
for a little while.
They had it on lock all the way from homie from Last Dragon, all the way up to
That's true.
you know, Al B. Sure, Christopher,
B.
my
Sure.
man Christopher Williams came, a good friend of mine, Christopher Williams came along. They were killing it.
New Jack City.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then Dwayne Wayne comes along, this character who was smart, who wore Jordans, but he pulled Whitley though. And that kind of like gave me a like, well, you know, I can, you know. And so that's where that came from. And I don't know, I just knew I was college bound. My friends were college bound. We were all kind of had our checks and balance system ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, you figure your application out. We all watched School Days and was like, that's what we want to be. You know what I mean? We want to be that. Whatever that is, that's what we want to do. And so I was going to be a high school history teacher or a professor. That's it.
That makes sense.
Makes sense, right?
So we were going to ask you that, but that's cool. So you were talking about music earlier, and you're making me think of Drumline when the Nick Cannon came and they were making him play all the soulful music, and he didn't like it.
Right.
But eventually, it got a hold of him because all their music at their school, he was going for all the old music. So I like that. But talk to us a little about sneakers. So here you are, 9th grade. What would we find you rocking at that time?
Some Jordans.
Still back then.
I am, if anybody that went to high school with me know me for a few things. Wearing headphones and wearing Jordans. That's it. And my dad bought my first and my only pair that he ever bought of Jordans in 1985, the Jordan 1.
How much were they? They were under $100.
$64.99.
That's a lot back then.
He bought them out of a store called Father and Son. And he bought them, and when the Jordan, we didn't call them the 1 and the 2 and the 3. We called them the new Jordans.
Yeah.
So the next pair of Jordans that came out was $100. He wasn't buying those. But my mama bought them. Right. And that became a thing for me. That became whatever, everybody as a kid has a thing. My thing was going into high school when the new Jordans coming out. And, you know, my trade-off was make good grades. I ain't got no problem getting you these shoes. And so that just became a thing for me. That's new Jordans, new Jordans, new Jordans, new Jordans. I was a Nike person. I loved Nike, but the Air Jordan was like a symbol, so to speak. Yeah.
Now, basketball was important in your family. Did you hoop in Jordans?
You know, in that time, we used to play in
Yeah.
shoes. You know what I mean? We ain't just wear them out as style. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I dream that he is me. You know, we put them joints on. Basketball has always been in my life. My brother was an exceptional basketball player in high school. 42-inch vertical leap. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up around ball.
Yeah.
And, of course, MJ became, my favorite player. But I just fell in love with the game more as I got older. But then when I got in like high school, I loved the NBA because I loved to see Mike win and the Bulls win. But as I got older than that, then my thing became college basketball. And to the point now I'm engulfed in college basketball in a major way. Not only from the school that I teach, but just me being a mentor for the Nike EYBL program. And so 9 times out of 10, most kids playing in the NCAA now, they're highly touted, draft pick. I probably have sat them down in a room and talked to them or mentored them for like a week. So
And what kind of things are we speaking of when you sit down with a young fella and talk to him about what to expect?
just my conversation with them has always been the craft, like to love the craft. That making money is the easy part, and hearing it coming from me is different from coming from a coach, a parent, or anything. Like, here's a guy that's standing in front of me that's working with some of my favorite people, you know Jay-Z, you know what I mean? So I used the Jay-Z story as my lesson of chance favors the well prepared. I had to make a beat for Jay-Z in 25 minutes on the spot. You got to knock down a free throw with 2 seconds left on the clock, and you're down by 1.
So let me ask you this: speaking of that beat in that time frame, I think I heard that you were supposed to fly back home and do it, but
I was
instead
supposed to go back to my hotel room
and do it. But
and
you
do
stayed
it.
and did it.
Yeah, I stayed and did it. I wasn't leaving that studio.
And they heard it, and he said, "This is it."
Yeah, he came back 25 minutes later. He heard it. He said, "This is it." Yeah.
Wow.
That changed your life?
What? Like it was the ultimate game changer, the ultimate breaking point. I tell people all the time, especially people who want to be in music, I'm like, you are 3 minutes and 48 seconds away from stardom.
That was in 2003.
3.
Yeah. Okay.
3 minutes
So
and
20 years.
We want to talk more about that. We got to pay some
20,
bills.
this is 20th anniversary.
Yeah, but we talk about mentors and life-changing moments and really being prepared,
Okay.
right? We want to talk more about that. We got super producer Ninth Wonder on the Bro Code Show. We'll be right back.
No one's ready to deal with us. What?
We're back on the Bro Code Show. We've got super producer Ninth Wonder. Ninth, we've talked about the craft. I want to bring that back up. You're in the hip hop world. You're working with some of the biggest names ever. Along that journey, though, mentors play a huge role. People that can pull your coattail. Who are some of those people that really kind of changed that mentorship for you as you navigated the music world?
Well, mentorship for me began way before I even got into music, right? And I kind of carried it on with me. We was talking about earlier about Tia, right? Tia Wallington is a woman, well, at the time, a girl that I met in the, going into my 9th grade year.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I met her by way of a program called Project Insured that was at Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem. And the man that ran that program is a man by the name of Dr. Ernest Wade. And he took 30 rising 9th grade black kids and put them on the campus of Wake Forest for 3 weeks, every summer until they graduated. But not only did he put us there, he put us there and put the autobiography of Malcolm X in our hand, A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry, Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys by Jawanza Kunjufu, The ISIS Papers by Francis. I read the ISIS Papers when I was 14.
Wow.
But not only I did, she did, all of my homies did. And he's still alive. Dr. Wade now is 84, still alive. He might be 85, still alive. And he just completely changed my life. Like, he, in so many different directions, he made me think from a world standpoint, but he also had this black program on this white campus. And that was so symbolic because it taught me to stay as authentically black as you need to in a very white society. I didn't even know it at the time that I would be able to read books like that. And we took a couple classes that were taught by Maya Angelou when I was 14. But Wake Forest is a predominantly white institution. Right. We stayed authentically black. We read another book called They Came Before Columbus. This is like 89, bro. You know what I mean? Reading that and then listening to an album called Fear of a Black Planet. So just from that, man, it just, what he did for me and what he did for all of us, it just completely changed. Now, once I got to the music industry, you know, mentors became some of my heroes. Arguably my biggest mentor in the game, as far as the way he's constructed his career, and still how he's revered by all generations of hip hop music, is DJ Premier. I can't even, you know, I get on the phone with Preem, man, we'll talk for hours. I'll listen for hours because he's seen it all, he's done it all, he's worked with everybody. He showed me how to be diverse in who I work with as well. Yeah, so, you know, he's one of my biggest inspirations and one of my biggest mentors in this game.
I love it. You mentioned Tia, right-hand woman, like she is the VP
Right.
of Gemma. Met her in 9th grade.
9th grade, going into my 9th grade
Going
year.
into your 9th grade, she's still here. You know, we talk about day ones.
I got a few day ones like that.
Like how important and what role has that played and how she shifted, not just you personally, but in business as well.
And she didn't start working with me until 2010. She went to North Carolina Central. She owns a couple of softball records at North Carolina Central, as a matter of fact. She went to law school at Ole Miss, got a law degree. And we're hanging out one day, and she told me, she looked at my email, she was like, you got 25,000 unread emails.
Hold on. Did you say 25,000?
It's like 2010.
So you ain't checked your email in years.
Don't email night.
Right.
Look, it's bad news. And that's when I had this one email, right? And she was like, boy, do you need help? And I was like, yeah, I probably do. And at first I said, you know, we're friends, I don't want to mix business or whatever. She's like, no. She said, I'll try for a year, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. Yeah, that was 2010.
Yeah.
So, but I'm always about my day ones like that, man. Like, I got a chat on my phone that it's like 14 of us. I've known them all since 6th grade. So it just keeps, it grounds me. I mean, they're all happy for me, but it grounds me as well. And I just rather hang around them than anybody because they know Patrick. Right. If anything that I talk about or I've become, they can tell you probably the day of where it came from. And that's Tia, man. That's for Tia, my man Randy Kilgore, my man Dr. Anthony Green, who I posted the other day on my IG. Just got an endowment position down at the College of Charleston. All of us, man. My man Jay Favors, Dr. Jelani Favors from, he's at Clayton State in African American Studies. We all grew up together. Yeah. You know what I mean? We all ran around the street together, went to the prom together, all this and that. You know what I mean? So, and they're all doing well, and I'm proud of all of them. But it was the best check and balance system I ever could have had, because not only we had all of us keeping each other in check, but now there's the parent network of all of our parents, like my parents, Tia's parents, Randy's parents, Jay's parents, Aunt's mom. You know what I mean?
They all stay together.
They all that was the network. It's like, you know, my mama call if she can't find me, she'll call Randy's mama. Miss Kilgore, is Patrick over there? He's sitting right here. Like we couldn't do nothing, bro, because we'd have to hear it. If one of us messed up, when we went to Tia's house, Aunt's house, my house, we was gonna hear it. I heard about you. Oh.
So-and-so told me.
So-and-so told me. Yeah. It ran through. So, you know, again, it goes back to that village. That village I was blessed with an incredible village, bro.
I love it.
I want to hear more about checks and balances, because it seems like a lot of, especially people who are famous, get into a lot of trouble. And I'm always looking at the crew, and it seems like there should be a better checks and balances. Why is that such a, like I'm thinking about Ja Morant, and I love Ja Morant, but I feel like his crew.
Well, man, I mean, you know, sometimes, I mean, let's be honest, man, like, unless you were raised in it, a lot of us don't know what to do with a lot of wealth and attention, right? And a lot of times we get this wealth and attention when we don't even know ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. The best thing that ever could have happened to me is me doing that Jay-Z track at age 28.
Right.
You imagine if I'd have did that Jay-Z track at North Carolina Central at 18? Right. Wilding for respect. Yeah. I would have been wild as an 18, 19-year-old, and I did a track for Jay-Z, and I'm on campus? What?
Can't tell me anything. Yeah.
You would tell me nothing, right? You know, but the saying also goes to, whatever you are, the more money you get, you just become more of that. And you know, that's just the thing, man. I was just luckily, I had a chance to be bumped and bruised and scarred by life and growing up in my 20s and debt and all this stuff before the Jay-Z thing even came along. You know what I mean? I was almost 30. So I had a good sense of who I was as a person before all this came to me. Right?
Off camera, we were discussing for the last couple of days, man, you're very grounded. We don't see you flashing. You're not flashing cars, no jewelry, like nothing. Like, why?
Yeah.
When we're, now think about it. We're in a time in social media where everybody's trying to be flex and show how much they have. Where here you are, you could do that and you don't.
It's so much into that, man. It's no one ain't trying to get robbed. I mean,
It's real.
like
Target.
it's got you become a target. It's like you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. It's kind of like I gotta show you I'm not like you, but if I show you I'm not like you too much, you're gonna feel away. And I ain't never been a big jewelry person anyway. I mean, even my senior year picture, I borrowed my homeboy Streeter's chain to take a picture. But I mean, I'm an Audi guy. I like my cars, but that'd be about it, man. Like, again, you know, North Carolina has a grounding type of mentality. Like, and another thing is too, we want the music industry to be here so bad, right? I mean, the same musical nucleus in like ecosystem that LA has, New York has, now Atlanta has, right? We want it to be here so bad. And what we don't understand is it's not gonna be bigger than tobacco. It's not gonna be bigger than religion. It's not gonna be bigger than tourism. And it's definitely not gonna be bigger than NASCAR or basketball. Those are the 5 things that's ahead of a rapper or a producer. I can walk in a restaurant, people are like, oh, there go Knife. Let Jerry Stackhouse walk in the restaurant. Let him walk in. Let Rashid walk in. Let Roy Williams walk in the restaurant. Knife Wonder who? J. Cole, there go Roy Williams, fam. Let Dale Earnhardt Jr. walk into a restaurant. So that's in North Carolina. So it's like, we don't have the ecosystem. We don't even have our version of the Hamptons, Beverly Hills, places that we can go and be separate from everybody else. No, you're gonna see Knife at the Walmart on New Bern. Man, I saw Knife at the Walmart on 15501. Well, bro, I was over here. It's not like a celebrity Walmart I can go to. We don't have a celebrity mall. We don't have that here. You know what I mean?
We don't.
So with that, you gotta kind of mix in with everybody else. But the thing about it is, when you do that, it's familiarity breeds contempt. I see you all the time, so you can't be as big as you say you are. And I have to tell people, I'm like, nah, like tell my students, you're 1 degree separated from Jay-Z. I don't know if it's hard for you to believe, but you are. Like, dang, Busta Rhymes calling, you gonna answer it? Y'all call him back, dang, you know Busta? Yeah. But it's hard for people to believe that, you know what I mean? But that's the state we live in. We live in a state away from celebrities. So everybody that's a celebrity is like a fantasy. I'm not supposed to be close to that person or whatever, so. But J. Cole got the same thing. J. Cole ride around on a bike. He pulls up in the cookout. And everybody like, what, Cole? He hooping at the Lifetime Fitness. It's just hard. That's just the mentality of people here. You know what I mean? Like, so.
We're here on the Bro Code Show, super producer Ninth Wonder. We'll be right back.
commitment by having our two first responder groups presented together as one unit here today.
Now comes one of Raleigh's newest leaders, Raleigh Police Chief Stella Patterson, riding with us here today. In addition to 25 years in law enforcement, she served as a member of the U.S. Army Reserve. Chief Patterson committed to building trust within the community and making Raleigh one of the safest cities in America.
Walking with Raleigh Police Chief Patterson today, two groups of youth, YM4C, Young Men for Christ, a program created to plant seeds of hope, love, respect, creativity, and self-worth. The second group consists of members of the RPD Safety Patrol program. These fifth grade student leaders from various Raleigh schools.
And they're bundled up. They're looking good this morning. Now, Chief Patterson, who's committed to working with youth groups and teaching young men and women to be responsible and respectful residents, has her sights.
We are back on the Bro Code Show. We got super producer, Ninth Wonder. Ninth, we got to dig into sports.
Let's go, baby.
You know, we talked about Chicago, but we're going to let Bro Smith take this one, man. What you got, bro?
Well, I'm going to stay on the topic of the Bears. You know, as I understand it, you're a big Bears fan.
Yes.
For some reason, they haven't won in a while, but that's a whole other story.
Who your team, man?
I'm a Giants fan. So
Okay, that's cool.
I'm a Giants fan.
Okay.
And so y'all helped us get Daniel Jones.
Okay.
But here in Carolina, you gave up the world so that Carolina gave up the world to get the #1 pick from y'all. How do you see the Bears faring, and do you stand with the quarterback?
Yeah, I'm staying with him, man. I mean, if you watch the last half of the season, Justin Fields had a great last half of the season. They just didn't win, but his stats is off the charts. He didn't have a #1 receiver. He had a very bad offensive line. He didn't have a go-to guy. The running back is cool. I don't know if the offense is where it needed to be for him, to fit for him. We seen the same thing with Jalen Hurts. Like, he came in rough. Like, they didn't fit the system for him. Once they fit the system for him, it changed. So I mean, I think we got a chance. I think we have a whole lot better chance than we did last year. This is what happens when you get all the way down to the #1 draft pick and have the most salary cap space. The next closest team is $40 million.
That's true.
So we had some room to play with. This is what happens. This is the cycle of the NFL.
All right.
You become sorry and you buy you a chip. This is what happens.
So
Yeah,
let's put it on tape. Where do you see them finishing?
I don't know, man. If Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, we have a great chance of winning the NFC North.
Yeah, because he has been spanking the Bears for the last 15
I mean, that's
years.
cool, man. I will say this. We'll probably have more Hall of Famers than y'all, the Giants. I think there's an award called the Dick Butkus Award. He played for the right. You've never had a running back like Walter Payton.
Come on, now that's not fair.
I'm sorry.
It's not fair.
I mean,
Like who you like.
what team has had a running back like what?
It's unfunny.
The Cowboys? I mean, like, come
And no
on.
matter what, I don't know how many years the Super Bowl's been around, or how many, the seasons, whatever. There's never been a defense like the '85 Bears.
Not even close.
So,
You're going to say the Ravens, but no, it's not.
no, it's not.
I mean, I get you.
The '85 Bears is the best.
I watched
defense
them
we've
play.
ever
The
seen.
steel curtain.
Yeah, no.
We've
the
ever
Ravens?
seen.
No, they-
The
for every
85. You
every
can
player.
Google you can Google it.
Every player.
#1 defense of all time in the NFL is going to be the '85 Bears.
Okay.
So we gonna hang our hat on.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna switch gears to another sport, to where your team has had a lot more success than the Bears had.
Of course.
The Duke Blue Devils.
Let's talk about it.
You know, how did you get so tight with that team, and how did that even become your squad?
I went through a phase when I was younger, 13, 14, that I'm going to follow the black team, right? Whatever the black team is, right? At one point, like early, mid-'80s, I used to like Georgetown. It's the black team. They're black on the court, black. People forget about that late to late 80s Clemson team. That was black, just the black all over the place, right? The next team that came out that was black was UNLV.
Yes, sir.
Black. And it was more of, I was in love with their style more than the style of play. I was in love with the baggy shorts, whatever. And then last but not least, the Michigan Wolverines. It's black, right? And then I got to understand the game of basketball. And once I started to look at that, then the team became Duke. And there's so many misconceptions when it comes to that. Of course, you know, as I talked to, I just did I was a guest editor for the Slam magazine, the Brotherhood. I was a guest editor for that, and then I wrote the foreword, and I also interviewed Grant Hill. And it's something that he said that kind of stuck out to me that just blew me away. I never thought about it. He said, it's funny that Georgetown is a whiter school than Duke is. Like, if you really think about it, right? But then I started teaching there in 2010 by way of my colleague, now my boss, so to speak, Dr. Mark Anthony Neal, right? So I started teaching there. But I wanted to start to understand and explore the relationship that Duke had with Black Wall Street. That was big for me. I had to see where and trace the roots of why was on North Carolina Central's campus, we had an auditorium called B&. Duke. Why? So I started to dig, you know, my little historical research, and I found that a young man, black man by the name of John Merrick, who was a barber in what we now know as the Hayti district, which is right around the corner. He was a barber in the barber shop, and he used to cut a lot of white philanthropists' hair. One of his clients was a man by the name of Washington Duke. Washington Duke moved, he moved Duke, the school, from Randolph County, Trinity College. It was a college, it's a Quaker college, and Randolph County, that particular Trinity College, was a stop on the Underground Railroad. So he moved it from there to here, and he became, you know, wealthy in tobacco, like most, Richard Joshua Reynolds, all of them, right? So he, you know, John Merrick used to cut his hair, and he was like, man, he said, well, son, you know, you seem like a smart young man, you want to learn real estate? And John Merrick was like, yeah. He said, how would you like to own this barbershop? And John Merrick was like, what do you mean own the barbershop? Like, I'll just work here. And so Washington Duke started to show him real estate. Showed him real estate, he ended up owning the barbershop and the businesses beside it. So then, along with John Merrick, along with C.C. Spalding, which is a school around the corner, James E. Shepard, the founder of North Carolina Central, went back to Washington Duke and said, you know, I want to start an insurance company. Would you invest? Yeah. That insurance company became North Carolina Mutual Life, which later on became Mechanics and Farmers. They went back to him and was like, you know, we need our own hospital. So they invested in Lincoln Hospital, the only black hospital in Durham for 76 years. The sons of Washington Duke, B&. Duke, and James B. Duke gave over $40 to $50 million to HBCUs across the South, including North Carolina Central, John C. Smith, and a few others. And it funded, and they gave a lot of money to Black Wall Street. So I started to look at it, I was like, well, man, like, Duke blacker than I thought it was.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just looking at it, and even now, me teaching there, I teach in the African American Studies Department. It's the second ranked African American Studies Department in the country, behind Harvard, which I taught there too. So I started to look at all that, and I was like, man, like, wow. And then the same black guy that designed McDougal Gymnasium designed Cameron.
I didn't know that.
And designed half of Duke's campus. The John Hope Franklin Institute sits on Duke's campus. You know who John Hope Franklin is, don't you? John Hope Franklin is basically Henry Louis Gates' big homie, pretty much. He wrote a book called From Slavery to Freedom.
That's right.
There's so many, you know, points of reference when it came to Duke's connection to Black Wall Street that I didn't know until I started to research. So even the misconception of Coach K, like, of course he's the guy to hate when you were a kid and blah, blah, blah. But he also sends 200 black and brown kids to school every year on scholarship to Emily K Center, right? And if I had to choose between good old boy Roy and K from Chicago, like, you know what I mean?
He's from Chi-Town.
He from Chi-Town.
Yeah.
And you know, just and not trying to like, some people may look at this and say, oh, you trying to, you know, validate him or whatever. I mean, the man is who he is. His favorite group is Marvin Gaye. I mean, Commodores. His favorite singer is Marvin Gaye. Like, just because, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay, cool.
one of his jams is Bitchin' by Golly Wow by the Stylistics. This is K we talking about.
All right.
So it's like, you know, I done hit him a couple times. Okay, well, yeah, I'm in Vegas. I'm watching the Commodores. What song they doing? Say Alone. This is K. You thinking, but that's just the misconception about just how Duke looked on the court with Christian Laettner, who was a huge Public Enemy and De La Soul fan, to everybody that we've had. You know what I mean? It's just, I just found a sense of, as an underlying current that nobody really knows about, that they talk about on the court. You know what I mean? They just judge it by the court. I mean, it is what it is. But even talking about John Shire, you know, Shire, everybody was wondering why Shire was the pick. Everybody was wondering.
Yeah, I thought that myself. Yeah.
Right. But let's think about it. Shire got the Duke in 2006, 2007, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9. Right. 2006, 2007. Won a championship in 2010. Left to go to the pros, messes eye up. Came back a year later. Been on the bench since 2011. So if you look at it, he's been there for 16 years, either as a player, grad assistant, or assistant coach.
Yeah.
Who knows the system? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on top of that, along with Jeff Capel, hell of a recruiting team, man.
Yeah. That's who I thought was going to get the job.
Yeah, I mean, he went to Pitt.
He went away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hell of a recruiting team. And maybe that's, I mean, in some people's eyes, that maybe that's, you know, I would have loved for my brother Capel to get the job. Shire got the job, and it was always the thing of, it's one thing to be an assistant coach. What are you going to do when you move to the hot spot, to the hot seat? Well, let's look at it. First ACC coach in his first year to go undefeated at home. First ACC coach to win as a player and as a coach in the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
Huh? Like, what we talking about? So it's like, you know, and it's easy to say, well, they lost second round in the tournament. Okay, it's first year. They got some dogs coming, some more dogs coming next year. You know what I mean? And so that's just, it is what it is. But I think a lot of people expected him to fail. And not to mention, swept UNC the first year. Which, notwithstanding, that looks good on the resume when it comes to the rivalry.
Yeah, but everybody beat UNC this year.
I mean, yeah, but still, like, it's still a situation. I mean, but it's the same UNC that had 4 players.
That's true.
They went to the national championship last year.
Yeah.
Blew that lead. Came back 4 starters. Preseason ranked #1. Didn't make the tournament. First time it ever happened. In the field of 64.
Yeah.
It happened one other time in 1975, but it wasn't 64 teams.
Wait a minute. You know what I love about him?
Is it?
Go ahead. Yeah, he come with data. He's
Oh, yeah,
not-
he's not
just no time for the
Yeah,
talk.
I just argued.
Like,
I was gonna say that.
We can
You can't
opinion all
argue
day
data.
long. I'm gonna come to you with the hard data.
So now we know.
The only other team that started the preseason ranked #1 and did not go to the tournament was the 1975 NC State Wolfpack.
I knew
And
he
it's
was
the
going
year,
I knew he was going to say that too.
it's the year after y'all won it in '74
Yep.
with David Thompson.
Yeah.
So I mean,
We had a lot of people go to the league that next year.
yeah, that's cool. But all I'm saying, but y'all preseason ranked #1, and I mean, to be honest, like I said, I'm a mentor for Nike EYBL. So I mentor Caleb Love and Armando Bacot. Bacot's coming back. That's my kid, man. I'm proud of him. I was proud of what the job he did in the tournament last year.
Yeah.
He played like a warrior. He always plays like
Oh, yeah.
a warrior.
Getting hurt and coming back.
And
Yeah.
getting hurt, coming back. Now he's coming back for his 5th season, and he deserves. He's a top rebounder of all. He passed Michael Jordan's scoring record.
Oh, wow.
I wish the word for that kid. It's always going to be a rivalry, you know, between Duke, Carolina. You know, NC State try to get in it, but you know, try to be like the little rival or whatever you want to call it. But you know, everybody know the world stands still when Duke and Carolina plays. But I mean, it kind of hurt from a basketball fan for Carolina not to be in the tournament because that's unheard of.
Right.
And whether you call us Batman or the Joker, one needs the other.
See,
to
yeah, that's true.
we're not Duke without
Right.
the rivalry. You know what I mean? And so that's as a basketball fan, that's important. But you know, we'll see what we do next year. We got some dogs coming in, and we're ready to play, man.
While you're on Duke, can we talk about the importance? You talked about a little bit with Coach K, but his legacy. I mean, I remember watching you. You were in the stands. All the players were in the stands.
Oh, that was a moment.
And I remember watching. I saw you, and I was like, Knife's locked in right here. He's in this moment. Why was that so important for you? First to be there, but I guess just his influence.
We haven't seen. The only the coach we've seen like that has been. Let's just talk about coaches in all sports. We can name them. It's been the face of the school. Paternal, although he ended it in the way it ended. He was Penn State.
Yeah.
Dean was and still is Dean. Like in the afterlife, he's still Dean. Like it's the Dean Dome, the Dean E. Smith Center. Like Boeheim was played there, just retired. You know what I mean? So for Coach to be there for 42 years.
Yeah.
I mean, before Coach got there, Duke was an ACC school, but it was a commuter school. It was like Emory. You know what I mean? It had a good basketball program, but not to what we know now for it to be. And to get there in 1980, lose his first 3 years, bring that class of Jay Billis and Johnny Dawkins in, go to the championship go to the Final Four in 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, and 94. That's nuts. To go to the Final Four that many times and to get 2 out of that. He won his first championship his 11th year, won his second one his 12th year. If we got the most championships in the field of 64 era, 5. If they would have won this year, it would have been 6 championships in 31 years. I don't care who you got coming in. The NCAA tournament is the hardest tournament to win. It's win or go home. It's hard to prepare for the next opponent, right? And that's what it is. So love them or hate it. 14 Final Fours, 9 championship games. I went to 9 championship games. I won 5 of them. That's insane. In this era.
We interviewed, and I don't know, fellas, y'all remember when we interviewed Derrick Rose? And he talked about working with Coach K and his level of excellence in literally the way he works, his preparation.
You know, LeBron talks about how much he didn't like Coach K. You watched the documentary. And to get all of those guys together to buy in, I think that's the biggest thing about Coach that I learned from him, even to being a label owner. I'm going to get you to buy in. I'm going to get you to run through a brick wall. That's what it is with him. I'm going to get you to buy in. I'm going to get you to believe in what I'm doing, you know, that type of thing. And so to be able to coach USA basketball, to do that, to make, and I'm, you know, unfair to most people, but him coaching US basketball is what made Duke into a global basketball brand. It is not my words, this is my man Corey Alexander that played for Virginia. It is the #1 college basketball brand on the planet because of his USA basketball. Duke has the second most players in the NBA now. You just watch the NCAA tournament. Cable coach, Hurley coached, Chris Collins coached, Kenny Blakeney coached, John Shire coached. That all came from the same bench. They all came from the same bench.
That's true. That's crazy.
Quinn Snyder's in the league. Elton Brand is over the Sixers. Trajan Langdon is over New Orleans. Mike Dunleavy is over at everywhere. Like it's nuts. Now Grant Hill is now the new director of USA basketball. All this came from one dude. Wow. Like, and what's crazy is in the 80s and 90s, that's what Carolina was. You couldn't go anywhere without Mitch Kupchak, Larry Brown, Roy Williams, George Karl, MJ, Worthy, Perkins. Like, they permeated the NBA, not only the court, but the front offices. That has shifted now. It has shifted to Duke runs front office. Grant Hill's half owner of the Atlanta Hawks. Like, Duke is everywhere in the NBA. Like, Adam Silver went to Duke. So it's, welcome to the world, man.
We got to pay some bills.
Yeah.
We got super producer Ninth Wonder right here on the Bro Code Show. We'll be right back. We're here at Ligon Middle School. I am founder and visionary of YM4C Enterprises. It's a nonprofit organization that uses life skills, character-based education, and physical activity to spark creative mindsets in young people. And yet again today, we're doing just that using basketball as a tool. Today, we're facilitating our Balling for Brotherhood program.
Let's go baseline. We're gonna line up shortest to tallest.
The Balling for Brotherhood program promotes physical education, cultural competency, and an active lifestyle amongst our young people. Today, we've had an opportunity to partner with Ligon Magnet Middle School right here in the heart of Raleigh, 27610, right next to Chavis Park. And since 2017, we've had an opportunity to facilitate 4 different programs. Today, here at Balling for Brotherhood, we have an opportunity to collaborate with the local community and our young people using basketball as a tool. So when we start off here with our Balling for Brotherhood, indeed is about brotherhood. So we always meet at the center court. The center court, we talk about what we're thankful for. First and foremost, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it, man. It always warms my heart to see people come together, especially for the first time, right? I was always taught that you only get one time to make a first impression. So thank you. So we just want to have a real brief moment of prayer. If everybody would bow their heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for just being here all by yourself with your awesome self. I ask that you be in the midst of the heart and the minds of your people. Cover us so that no one gets hurt, but we have a whole heap of fun. In your name, in Jesus' name we pray, amen. Giving honor back to the Most High.
Ready? Ready?
One shot, now the future is yours. Yeah, I was building on a lecture. Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on the pot, the skin, the true style trademark is at the edge of your gills. I'm taking one shot for the kill, the breeze cut free. Straight drop, the chills I'm talking. Taking over pieces and shares of all through the sky high. Check the movement is here. Yeah, it's one shot, now the future is yours. Turning dreams into reality. On the level with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the balls in the place. I'm talking one chance at best, yes. Painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover, but the drummer passion never rests. Freedom is a teacher under pressure, now we blessed. See, I was so good for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Yeah.
Let's go!
Let's go!
Alright, you gotta create your own energy when you don't feel like it. And that's what this is. Alright? Alright? But now who lost? Let's hit the push up. Hit the push up.
You know, today was all about promoting an active lifestyle and coming together through using basketball as a tool. And I think we've accomplished that. There's so much more to come. But I want each and every one of us to just, as we break bread and as we get ready to serve pizza and serve each other, to talk to somebody that you don't know. You know, I believe everything starts with a conversation. I think we just choose not to, whether it be through phobias, isms, or bias, to not have those conversations. So I challenge, as we break bread, as we finish with the basketball and transition into mealtime, that you conversate with someone else. If you'd like to know more about our program, feel free to give us a call at 919-714-9905 or go to our website at www.ym4c.org. Again, www.ym4c.org. On there, click on the Get Started. You'll leave some pertinent information, and one of our intake specialists will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. We're back on the Bro Code Show. We've got super producer Ninth Wonder. Ninth, we talked about being a sneakerhead, but who would have ever thought, man, like what kid grows up like, man, I can't wait till I'm grown, I'm gonna have my own sneakers. Well, you got a chance to say it, and we got it right here, man.
Right.
KD, let's see what we got here. This is gonna be my first
KD.
time opening them up. Let's see what we got here, man. I would love for you to talk about this shoe and kind of walk us through how we got to how it looks here, man. Here you go. I mean, it's your shoe, you know what I mean?
Man, this shoe is a manifestation of law of attraction. If you think about something so much, it's going to happen. But some people think about it and don't walk in the direction of it. So I'm gonna try to explain this as quick as I possibly can. So my relationship with Nike, outside of my mama paying all the money for all the shoes.
Yeah, right.
I was at a producer conference in Phoenix, Arizona. It was done by Shot Money XL. They used to run G Unit with 50. Producer conference, but people around everywhere, and it was in Phoenix, and it's in the middle of it's April, May, so it's like 101 outside. I decided to stay in a hotel. I decided not to go out to get something to eat during our little break session. And I went and sat down, and I sat beside this brother, this dude. And he looked at me, he said, man, I know you, man, you look familiar. And anybody ever say that, I don't be like, yeah, I'm Ninth, nigga. I don't say I'll be like, I say, who I look like?
Right,
You know?
oh, okay, right.
He's like, man, you do beats, you make beats. I said, yeah. He said, you know, I wonder. I said, yeah, man. He said, man, you talk, it's funny because at the last year's conference, you talked to my little brother. And I said, I did. He's like, yeah. He said, you talked to him for like 45 minutes, man. You was about to go to your room. He stopped you on the escalator and you talked to him. I appreciate you doing that, man. I said, man, no problem, man. I said, how's he doing? He said, man, he's doing all right. He's selling a couple beats now. He's doing all right. And I was like, man, and at the time I had on some black cement 3s, right? And he said, where you get them 3s from? I said, man, I got them from Flight Club in New York. I was buying sneakers like crazy. So how much you pay for them? I said, about 300. You say, ooh, okay. And so he was like, man, I truly appreciate you talking to my brother, man. It really helped him out a lot last year. And I appreciate it. I said, man, brother, I ain't catch your name, man. I said, man, you want me to, I said, you seem like you like George, man. You want me to, look out for, call my man at Flight Club and set you off? He's like, nah, I don't think I need that, man. I said, what's your name? He reached in his pocket. He pulled out a black card, had a silver Jumpman on it. He said, man, I'm the creative director for Jumpman. My name is Jason Maiden. And he gave me his card. I said, boy.
Never know.
And the lesson in that is always be mindful who you talk to, bro. Like people just be saying any type of thing, because they feel like they nobodies or whatever. Like you just never know. So Jason Maiden became my friend. He said, man, he said, here's my card, man. I'm gonna get you out of Flight Club jail. Okay. I got home that Monday, that Tuesday, the FedEx man came and put 8 boxes on my porch. And I said, man, is this boy, I know I'm not about to get no free sneakers.
Boy. And
that was 2009. And so my relationship with Nike started there. So follow me. I went out to Portland later on that year. I visited the Nike campus for the first time. It was like Disney World. I'm just out there walking around, going to the Michael Jordan building, the Mia Hamm building, going to the shop where Tinker Hatfield made all the Jordans. I'm tripping. And so I get home, a year later, I'm still talking to Jason. We going back and forth, still talking. And I'm on Twitter one night watching Sugar Shane Mosley fight, and Grant Hill tweets me back. And I'm like, man, I know this not Grant Hill tweeting me. He DM'd me, say, man, I'm a fan. I say, boy, you tripping. Because I remember being at Central in '93 and him being at Duke right across the way. And he's like, man, take my number. Bet. So I took his number. And so he started to come by the studio. And then he said, you mind if I bring some of my homies? Yeah. The first person he brought to the studio was Jeff Capel. The thing about Jeff Capel and I, Jeff Capel spent his middle school years in Winston-Salem. His dad was the assistant coach for Wake Forest.
Yep.
So me and Capel knew a lot of the same people. Didn't know that, that we knew a lot of the same people. So him and Capel came by. Next thing you know, him, Capel, and Trajan Langdon came by. It became like the Duke hangout, just cats was coming by. So then, one Saturday I'm in the studio, Capel calls me. It's like 2012, it's fall 2012. He calls me up. I said, well, yes, I'm in the studio. He's like, man, so we recruiting this kid, man. He wants to meet you so bad. I'm like, who is it? This kid named from Chicago by the name of Jabari Parker. I said, I just watched him on the Blige story, the Ben Wilson story. Bring him by the studio. So he brought him by. Brought him by the studio, and we sitting there, I'm sitting there talking to him. He was a fan of Pete Rock and CL Smooth, he's a fan of Tribe, everything. And before he left, I said, man, you coming to do? He said, I'm thinking about it. I walked through the Denver airport like 2 weeks later, and he's announcing on ESPN. I stopped in the airport, and he's like, I'm going to Duke University. I said, oh, we outside. And so Jabari invited me. It's all a chain reaction. Jabari invited me to the Jumpman Classic in the spring of 13. I went to New York, it's in the Barclays. Jabari invited me, and Jason Maiden got me tickets because he's at Jumpman. And so I'm there, and I watch Jabari play. So I get to go down in the family room afterwards. So I'm down in the family room. It's all the players, all the families. They got music playing, and I'm just walking through, just beelining through to go over to be with Jabari's family. And I hear somebody say, I know this is not Ninth Wonder walking past me. And I turned around, and it's this guy by the name of Carlton DeBose. And he said, man, I'm playing you right now. He hold his phone up, and it's Dream Merchant. And I said, what's up, man? He's like, man, you got to come, when you let me know, man, I know you really in the ball. Let me know if you ever want to come to Peach Jam in Augusta. And I was like, what do you do with Nike? He said, I'm the director of EYBL. All this happens, boom, boom, boom. So I didn't go the first couple of years. I ended up going to, and now I'm teaching at Duke now. So I ended up going down there I ended up going down like 17, by 2017. But before I went, Wojciechowski is at Marquette. He flies me up there to talk to his team. Kerr was his assistant coach. I'm meeting the brotherhood one by one by one by one. It wasn't even called brotherhood yet. It was one by one by one. I'm meeting them. They still come to the studio. Grant Hill come to the studio. He wants to make beats. It's all this stuff. So I go to Peach Jam one year. I'm in the lobby. Who walks in? Kevin Durant. His man seen me first. It was like, man, what's up, dog? Blah, blah. He said, man, KD, a big fan, want to meet you. Bet. Okay.
Yeah.
So KD come in, we talk, and we exchange numbers. And at the time I was carrying around, I had in my possession, and at the time I never heard before Busta Rhymes album, which ended up becoming ELE2. I had it on me. And I was only playing it for select people. He was gonna be one of the people. So I was like, man, you wanna hear this? I got it. He said, man, what you working on, man? I said, but I got this Busta Rhymes album. You need it. I can play it for you. You can't do it. And he's like, it was here, but we never got up to hear it. And so then next thing you know, Carlton's bringing me down to Peach Jam. I'm going out to Thousand Oaks, California, to mentor kids, the EYBL top crop kids, and they're practicing in the Mamba facility, the one that Kobe was flying to. So we're in that, and I'm in there. The first summer I was there, it was Armando Bacot, Cole Anthony, Cassius Stanley. It's that class. The next class was Cade Cunningham, Caleb Love, Jalen Green, Brandon, the kid who went to Kentucky, a very young Imani Bates. This is all in the same, John Kaminga, this is all in the same class. So I'm tripping. So I had to go back out to Nike like 2018, 19, I had to go back out there. And I did a talk at Nike. And they said, hey, so they pulled me to the side and say, look, so KD about to do a shoe, right? He about to do a producer pack. He wants to do it with you and 2 other producers. What you mean producer pack? He wants you to design the shoe. I'm like, what? So this is like 2019. Dial it back some to 2016. Carlton is the dude I called that said I wanted to start a girls basketball team, the Carolina Dream. So Carlton has been backing me on that since. So now I'm in with Nike now. Now I got James Wiseman. He wanna rap. Imani Bates wanna rap. Every kid you see that's like top in the country, I saw a very young Paolo Banchero. I saw Scotty Barnes house Paolo Banchero when he was like 17 and Scotty was 18. I'm seeing this, like I'm watching the NBA right in front of me. So back to the shoe, it's time to come to do the shoe. April of 2021, Nike hits me up and says, all right, Nike, it's time. We're gonna do the KD 15. Okay. I sat on the phone with Nike for 3 hours. My brother passed away in 2020. Yeah. So they showed me a silhouette of the shoe on screen, and they said, all right, it's your show. So, hand me another shoe. Let's start with the bottom. One of the shoes has KD on the bottom. The other one has 9th on the bottom. This is a map of Suitland, Maryland. That's where KD is from. This is a map of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The quote on the bottom is, that I came up with is, our hometowns is the foundation we stand on, right? If you look right here, it's my children's birthday dates. The purple and black on the shoe is for the Carolina Dream. But it's also asymmetrical, kind of. It's pink in this way, it's like that, whatever color that is in this tongue, purple in this tongue, purple around the lip here, whatever that is around the lip there.
Catch that. Yeah.
It is purple on this side, but white on that side. The silver on the tongue represents my favorite Jordan, the Jordan 5, the metallic tongue. The stitching around it has KD on one, 9th on another one. Where it has KD here, has 9th here, has 9th here, has KD here. The stitching on the tongue is a salute to Virgil Abloh for the off-white. And then the inside, well, on the back is my signature here. Then it's KD's there. And then inside I got my brother's name.
Yeah.
And I told him I wanted another set of laces, and I wanted all of the laces to have the thick tips on the end. And I wanted the thick laces, I didn't want the little laces. And I wanted the bottom clear like the Jordan 5. That's the shoe.
Wow.
That's detail.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lot of detail.
Wow.
And that's crazy. I just saw today somebody sent me a graphic that my shoe was the 5th most worn shoe in the NBA this season.
That's a big deal.
That is a big
That's a big deal.
It's a big
Mama, I made it.
Mama, I made it.
I love it. I love it. Let's talk about that, man. Like, as a kid growing up in Winston-Salem State, or Winston-Salem period, Pops was at the tobacco plant.
R.J. Reynolds.
You know, Mom's educator, pouring into the lives of others, man. Was this, could you even fathom?
Yo, all this a
something
dream,
like
bro.
that?
Let me tell you, man. Like, people think, you ask me how I stay so humble because I still don't believe it's happening, bruh. Like, people tripping, like, you know what I mean? Like, and another thing too, Jason Maiden designed the Fast Hunting Lounge logo. This is crazy. But it's like, all this a dream, bruh. Like, I tell my family all the time, like, with black folk, we like to worry and stress about so much. and not, we're supposed to be spiritual people and not look at how blessed we really are. A lot don't get me upset not because it's a money thing or whatever. I'm like, yo, bro, listen, I make beats for a living. What? I lecture the kids about Rakim, not calculus, not biology. Rakim, A Tribe Called Quest, that's my lecture. My other lectures consist of us watching Menace to Society.
Yeah.
My homeboy is Kadeem Hardison. That's my homie. That's my man. Like, at my birthday party, my guest was Kadeem Hardison and Christopher Williams. These are people I grew up watching.
Yeah.
My homie is Premier and Pete Rock. And Tip and Q-Tip and Buster. And bro, like it'd be tripping when I look on my like Instagram and I say something, or even though I'm DJing, Keith Shockley from the Bomb Squad will show up and what? Like, I don't think people really understand. This is a dream. All this is a dream. It's like it's not supposed to be happening. The shoe, me making the shoe, it's not supposed to be happening. Me and Coach K text all the time. That's not supposed to be happening. Me and KD are homies. Yo, it gets. I just got a text from Michael Finley. He's gonna be in town next week on campus. He taking something. He doing something to do. What? But I got Michael Finley's number from God Shamgar. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think people. I know a lot of college basketball coaches. Buzz Williams. That's my man. Like. This is a dream, bro. I don't take none of this for granted. People, we kind of humble, kind of laid back, quiet, because I'm just sitting back like, man, I'm really tripping. To have a shoe and to see Mark Mitchell wore it when he played against Oral Roberts. I went to a Nets game, sat courtside. KD won for the first time, dropped 45. He went 21 for 25. Gave me the shoe, signed him. What? Yo, I don't, and that's why, for me, it's resolve. That's why I don't trip about a lot, because I'm living a dream, bro. I'm living a dream. These was free. Who does, like, and people, I guess people used to getting free stuff and this and that and the third, blah, 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 but I don't take none of this I take for granted. The people that I know, the rooms I've been able to be in, the information I've been trusted with, from all the Duke players I've taught, you know what I mean? I've taught 19 draft picks. 19, like, you know what I mean? I just left All-Star Weekend. I'm sitting beside Fat Joe, Janelle Monáe, like, what's up, man? Like, this ain't no game. Like, I'm just tripping, Jason Tatum hit a shot pointing to me on the sideline. I had him in my class. Yo, man, I don't, even Keats is my man. I owe Keith a pair of Keats. I got Keats shoes at my house too. And that's what I'm saying. Like, people, I get to live and teach and be around hip hop all day long. To be a part of it, to teach it, to play it. I don't take none of that for granted. My phone rings sometimes, I'll be like, yo, man, this is Grand Poobah on my phone. And I'm talking to him. The first time LL Cool J called me, man, I'm like, what? Like, it never gets old to me. Some people, it wears off. Not me, bro. It's exciting. It never gets old. I am part of a culture that I used to have on my wall as a kid, man. I used to read about Source, Right On, Word Up, Black Beat. I used to read about these people. And these people either on the phone with me or talking to me or calling me out when I walk by and stuff. Like, nice. I'm looking like, I know this ain't Mars Day.
Time.
The time?
Right.
The time? It's like that type of stuff.
That was my first album. That's the first album I ever bought.
Bro, the time,
man.
like, it's just unreal, man. I'm just in turn. It's not a game. People think, he putting on. I'm not, bro. It's really a blessing, And I know so many people will do whatever to be in my shoes, man.
We're gonna talk about one last thing. I get one of my brothers to talk about the infamous towel, but I'm just curious, man. Like, if your parents didn't introduce you to music at such a young age, we might not be having this conversation.
I have no idea, man. But it's a combination of things. It's music. It's how to treat people. It's discipline. My dad, before he worked at R.J. Reynolds, was self-made. He was a landscaper. So he rode around and got it before he got his job at RJR. Watching, seeing my mama deal with people and deal with kids, I learned how to teach from her, that type of thing. So yeah, a lot of what they put into me, I don't think would have been here if they didn't put that into me. You know what I mean? So, absolutely.
I agree. Okay. Well, as far as the towels, man, you know, the pandemic was tough, but one of the things that got me through,
there you go, bro.
you know, was watching your DJ sets, and, you know, and you always had this on your head as you did it. I'm gonna let you talk more on it, but that's how I was first introduced to you and the towel.
Where we at?
Tuning
in the
into
studio?
the Instagram in the studio.
Shout out to Gatorade. Shout out to Gatorade.
Okay, this is how it happened. Pandemic hit, the ACC tournament got shut down. I got to the studio one night. I heard D-Nice had been on, and I started to DJ. I DJ for 3 hours, and it's a part of my floor in the studio that's like this. So I DJ for 3 hours, and I stood up, and I killed my legs that night. I told myself, I ain't doing this no more. It was March 20th, 2021. I ain't doing this no more, that's what I said. Well, 2020, I ain't doing this no more. Went home, rested up. Everybody stuck in the house now.
Yeah.
I went back to the studio. To the point where people couldn't be outside if they had some documentation. I had a media pass. I was considered media. So I had a chance, you know, to be out. So I went back to the studio. I DJ'd another 3 hours. One night I had like 100 people on. The next night I had 500 people on. I started sweating so bad. So I had a towel, like a regular white towel in the studio that I was wiping my face with, whatever. I ain't even had a little eye rig thing so you can hear it crystal clear through your phone. I didn't even have that yet. One of my DJ homies, my man Static Selector, called me and was like, yo, you need to get a rig. I watched you last night, get an eye rig. So I got an eye rig, came back in there. Did it again, another 3 hours. Had a towel on, you know, whatever. So the third night I came back, fourth night, I left my towel at home. The only towel that was in the studio was a white Gatorade towel that they gave to us at K Academy from Duke. I picked it up, I wiped my face with it, but then I also noticed, you know, I was wearing it like a basketball I was wearing over my head or whatever. I ain't think nothing of it. I was just wiping my face, had it around my neck, wipe my face with it. I come back the next day, I'm DJing, I look up at the screen, somebody was like, what a towel that night? And started saying, like, night out there, because I was wearing like shorts and all that, Chicago Bulls shorts, whatever. They're like, oh, Jordan in the fourth. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, so I put the towel on and the chat went crazy. And I was like, oh, this is a thing. So I had like 4 or 5 of the white towels, white on both sides, and I just had them. And I washed them and I would bring them and wear them. And then it became a thing. I would DJ for like 30 minutes. And then I pulled the towel out. Oh, he got the towel on. That's what everybody would say. So that just became a thing. So I was like, man, I wonder if any black towels exist. So I got on Amazon. I ordered me a mat that people be standing on. I ordered me that. And I ordered like 10 of those. Black on one side, white on the other. And then it became a thing. And when I'm in there DJing, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody came up there and said, man, there's a whole lot of fast aunties up in here. And that was it. And I was like, fast auntie. And I noticed that D-Nice calls us Club Quarantine. It was a place. It wasn't just a thing. It was a place. So I said, I don't want to be club, so One night, the next night I got on the microphone, I was like, "Welcome to Fast Hunting Lounge," and that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I got tired of saying "Welcome to Fast Hunting Lounge." I was like, "Fast is short."
Yeah.
And I had created a whole brand, didn't even know it. And so now I just keep them towels on deck. And then when I went to EYBL this past year, it's those towels, but EYBL got the EYBL towel with the peach on it, with the big G on it. I got some of those.
You in there now? Yeah.
In there. So it became a thing. And if I get on tonight, and if I get up there and got my towel, somebody gonna call me out.
You're still doing it. Like I've been watching. Hell
Yeah. I did it last night.
That's been 3 hours, 3 years.
It's been three. It's community now. Wow. It's really when I go out.
Wow.
Women introduce themselves to me as, "What's up, Knife? I'm a fast auntie." And I'm like, "What?" Like I didn't think it was. But I got so many stories. Of people saying, "You got me through the pandemic."
Yeah.
I was going through a vasectomy, and I watched you from the hospital. You got me through. I lost my mom during that time. I lost my dad during that time. And your lives are what got me through. So,
we never know the impact we're having on people.
Yeah, music
Absolutely.
plays a
Never
big role.
know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Never know.
Indeed. Indeed. We got a scene or a segment on the show called the picture segment. You know? Most people, you're no different, are very, very intentional about what they put on social media.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be. Well, we did a little research now.
Okay,
Yeah, we didn't find nothing you ain't already shared, but here's a picture that we found was pretty dope. You talked about her before.
My mama.
Yeah, man. Talk to us about that picture, man.
That is my mama. She got on the Jamlas a Squad shirt. That is my auntie.
Oh, that's a screenshot. I ain't actually on IG.
No, you good. It's my auntie, man. I call her my auntie, but she's actually my older cousin.
Okay.
But she's old enough to me to be my auntie to me. The fair that's at the NC State, the State Fair, it's in Winston-Salem first. It's called what's called the Carolina Classic Fair, but it used to be called the Dixie Classic Fair.
Right. Yeah.
So every year as a kid I would go, but you know, I got to the point where I started taking my parents. Well, my dad can't get around like he liked to, so I took my mom and my aunt to the fair. It was just us three that day. And so, you know, all we do is we walk around the fair and eat.
That's it. We don't ride no ride.
We ain't finna get on no
We're
ride.
not there, peace.
No, sir. So that
I
shit-
saw who put it together. No, I'm not
No,
getting
I'm not
on
doing
that.
it. So she had on a Jamlas Squad shirt, and I posted it that day. Yeah.
I love it, man. Tell us about this one right here. Yeah. You got to talk to us about that day, man. We saw the pictures.
This is the Rock Nation brunch. I told my guy, you know, where I go get my suits from, that I want to look like one of the 5 Heartbeats. And he was like, all right.
It came. Nights like this.
Dressing somebody. So I had my suit on, and I had seen Tyler around a couple of times. But the only reason why I went to this brunch this year is because it was my young boys Ruben's first time. And going to the Rock Nation brunch is like a rite of passage for a new artist. And it was his first time, and he wanted me to go. He wanted me to introduce him to different people, and I introduced him to Tyler, and we took a picture.
Yeah, I love it. Last but not least, man, tell us about this last one.
That was the night of my birthday party right around the corner.
Okay.
And I asked Spice Adams to come host it.
You got to talk about Spice, man.
Spice is a Chicago Bear. Spice is, if reinvention had a definition, it is Spice Adams.
Yes, sir.
He is 100% taking advantage of the thing that he found. And it's a whole, it's all about when you come up with a brand, it's coming up with your own lingo. I had like all of that. This is him. And so he came to the party, man. He said, man, I got this suit I'm gonna wear. I said, oh God, Jesus. He put that lime green suit on, and he had some jupe in his. Oh Lord. But it's a good dude, man. He's been a big supporter of mine, man, and he's just all around good dude.
Yeah.
Spice Adams. Yeah.
I love it. We have another segment on the show called Flip the Script. We're going to take a real quick break, and when we come back, we're going to change scenes, and we want to do something special for you, too. Okay? And we'll do that with the script. All right. We got super producer, Ninth Wonder on the Bro Code Show. We'll be right back.
So for me, YM4C this past year, a little bit over a year, YM4C has been a saving grace for me and my son. Darnell joined YM4C in February of 2020, right before COVID hit, and then I was in a car accident in March. And the support I received from Troy and the YM4C family, dinner being delivered, getting picked up to go get a haircut so he can be able to be presentable going to his 5th grade drive-through parade because I couldn't drive. I had no vehicle. There was no one to take him to do it. But it's also allowed me to meet people, for me to find resources for himself. For me, he's 12. He's about to be 13. And I don't know how to raise a man. I don't know how to raise a boy. And without Troy, Mr. JC, because my son and Mr. JC, they have so many of the same interests. And there are so many things that I don't know about. And without them, for him to be able, there are things my son comes to me about, and I'm like, I don't know. Go call, text Mr. Troy. Call Mr. JC. I don't know. Like, I have to really be able to be honest and say, I don't know. I don't have the answer. And sometimes I can't say, call your dad. It's call Mr. Troy, text Mr. Troy, call Mr. JC. It's Tuesday. You talk to them tonight, don't you? And it's truly, truly been a blessing for me. And it really has. And for Darnell as well. And just the little interaction that I've had with Aiden this few minutes, I look forward to myself as well being able to see the interaction and the growth that he makes as well in YM4C.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here at the Bro Code headquarters. This is Ninth Wonder. This is the Ninth Wonder Show. Welcome to it. My first guest tonight, the Bro Code, is bro number 1 over here with the Hope Dealer shirt on.
That's it, baby.
Give it up for the Hope Dealer.
Hope Dealer is in the building, baby. Bro Troy is in it. What's going on, sir?
Troy, where you from, brother?
Well, I was born in New Jersey. I grew up in Atlanta.
Okay. Do you believe that Atlanta has the effect on hip hop or one of the top hip hop cities in the country?
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Ever since Andre 3000 stepped on the stage and said the South got something to say, it's been holding it down.
95 Source Awards.
You better believe it, baby. Yes,
okay.
sir.
I'm going to ask one more question. What do you feel is the best Outkast album?
Ooh. It's between ATLiens and the Criminal.
This is my man Troy from Atlanta, by way of New Jersey. Give it up for him, everybody.
Sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Bro number 2. Come on, brother. Yeah. How you doing? What's your name, brother?
Cornelius.
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 Where you from?
Michigan.
Michigan, what part?
Kalamazoo.
Kalamazoo. Is that Upper Peninsula or Lower Peninsula?
That's lower. Home of Derek Jeter.
The home of my brother, Derek Jeter, who I'm very close to his sister, Charlie Jeter. That's the homie. That's my family. Shouts to the Jeters, absolutely. My question to you is Michigan your basketball team?
Michigan State.
Michigan State.
You know we still in the turn. We still playing. Yeah. Okay.
Michigan State is still playing. They have not won a championship since the beginning of the George W. Bush administration. Do you think Izzo is a top 5 coach?
Yes. He wins with less talent. He wins. It doesn't matter who he has on the court. So yes, absolutely. He's done more with less.
Shouts to my man Miles Peterson. What is my man Mo Pete? What's my man Mo Pete?
Yeah. Flintstone.
And shouts to my man Mateen Cleave. That's my man. That's my man. Who is the best Michigan State basketball player of all time?
Irvin.
Magic Johnson.
Oh,
we ain't got a lot to choose from. Okay, thank you for Cornelius. I appreciate that. And last but not least, Mr. East Forsyth.
That's right, Eagles.
What's your name, brother?
J.C. Smith.
And you are from?
From Illtown, East Orange, New Jersey.
How did you end up at East Forsyth?
Oh, parents got me out of Jersey. Settled in a nice little town called Kernersville, North Carolina.
Cape Vegas.
And, spent 2 years there before going to NC State.
Do you believe that East Forsyth is the best high school in Winston-Salem?
Absolutely. Especially within these last 5 years. There's no other high school. I don't think there is another high school. No, I don't count Glenn. Yeah.
And this is why crystal meth is an epidemic. NC State.
All right.
NC State. You're a Wolfpack man.
That's right.
When is your last national championship?
83 was our last national championship.
When is your last ACC tournament win? A tournament victory champion?
might be the Hodge years, maybe 2005, 4.
You sure about that?
I am not certain. It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Who is the greatest NC State Wolfpack of all time?
Not just
Basketball
the greatest
player.
NC State Wolfpack, but arguably the best collegiate basketball player in the history of the game, Mr. David Thompson.
Mr. David Thompson. It was 1974. This is what he's talking about, way before his time.
That's correct.
He has no recollection of it. Give it up for my man. And that's Flip the Script, man. I'm here tonight. Wonder we're at the Broco headquarters, man. See you next time. Peace.
Appreciate it.
Hey, yeah. The life. I said it's the life. Yeah. Hey, yo, I see y'all out there living y'all life, man. Live it up. I went from sleeping on the bunk inside a cage to home ownership. While people was afraid of that life, I was condoning it. And hoped that I was raised with a mice known to roam. If you got it out the mud, I slept there. I was homeless, living was only torture, and I could have done without it. But God rerouted, and now my mama the proudest when performing at events.